Well, welcome, whoever's there. And hello, Margaret. I wish I could see you, but I understand. I get how I am like that too sometimes. But thank you for coming. And I do see that you're here, and thank you for your support. And thank you for everybody that's here is showing their face, and that's very helpful to me. So today probably will be the last session, and I don't say that with regret or negativity. I don't want it viewed that way, but I learned a lot from doing this with all of you. And what I realized in all of this, and it's important to share, is that really what set my teaching or my interaction with people apart from the massive volume of things that are out there. And there's a lot out there. Teaching. My gosh, you could literally do podcasts, TED Talks 24/7. And what I had to be true to myself, and what was truly unique, and I do want to teach this because I would love to see your community start something like this, is we decided, there's all these books and we all go to classes and we all look for answers and we all say, oh, I need to learn about this, like image cycling. And I want to learn about this, and I want to meditate, and I want to learn about EMDR, and I want to tap, and I want to do all these different things. But what we did in our class that was so unique and was such great growth to me, as well as to the people that I connected with, is that it wasn't me talking at someone. It wasn't me being a teacher. I was simply a catalyst that gave suggestions. And the suggestions sound at times maybe somewhat trivial, but because we met weekly, right, nobody could just slip out. Okay, they would say, well, did you do this last week? And they'd say, nah, I didn't get to it. I was kind of busy. Did anybody do it? And then you would have a person come in and say, I did. And this is what happened. Okay. And so that would inspire the next person to say, oh, really? That's interesting. Well, let me revisit that. And so what happened is through these little, and I'll give you a couple stories, they're coming, but I want to give this gift to your community in Edinburgh. You don't need to have a quote teacher. All you need is a catalyst that says, you know what? We've been reading, we've been learning, we've been praying, we've been meditating, we've been doing mindfulness, we've been doing all these wonderful things. Let's create a lab. Let's start sharing the stories that happen when we actually take that little itty bitty step. And they sound minor, but I don't know who said the quote. I don't mean to be stealing it, but the little things are the big things. When you really do some of these little things, they are huge. I can give you an example about the image cycling right off the bat, because it's on my mind. I can't help that. I did a list along with you. I'm a student, I'm a catalyst, whatever. I made my list diligently about 2 weeks ago. I was a little bit late putting it together. And I said, okay, it's time. I haven't done one in a while. And I did it just like I was the student, meaning I had to do it perfectly. I couldn't just scribble down this and this. I had to say, okay, I really have to look at what's the end point. What's this? Had a hard time coming up with 10 things. I finally got the 10 things together. 3 of those things have already happened. Like crazy happened. And some of these things are big. Like one of them was selling my condo in Hilton Head. Now, what I had to do was literally picture the emotion, the joy of it happening. And why did I want to sell it? Because I have to be free of the burden that's given me and how it was difficult being a landlord, and I can't do this anymore. And it was tiring me out. And I knew in my intuitive gut sense, my inner knowing, that it was time to have this happen. And I didn't question it. I put the order into the universe and I said, I really need to sell this, and I need to sell it before I get down there, because otherwise I'm going to be doing showings. And why would you have me work so hard? Okay. So I had it in my head, what it was going to feel like, what it was going to look like, how it's going to go down. And again, what you do with cycling is you're already feeling the joy of what happened. So thoughts are things. And Mike Dooley, I took his little mini class. He's a delightful character. He's quirky, completely different personality than mine. And if I just sat there and listened to him, it remains in your head like the lemon. Okay. But if you take that little baby step and say, you know what? This is a pain. It's new. It's stupid. That's how you feel when you're doing things that are out of sync. So you're not unique when you feel that way. To say, I can't do this. I can't color. Oh, come on. I can't come up with this. I go through that same process. But If you want your life to stay the same, exactly the way it is today, don't try anything. Don't do any of these suggestions. But if you want to see a shift, my gosh, you got to make a commitment to yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to take 1 minute, just 1 minute to do something different. And you choose what it is. Again, I'm a catalyst, not somebody that wants to teach at you and say, no, I want you to do this. I want you to do this. I don't want that for you. I want to make suggestions that could profoundly affect your life. Profoundly. And I can only say the reason I'm such a core believer in all this is bless the people that I've been blessed with that came to hear me talk. Man, they gave me 150%. And I wish more of them were listening. I hope some of them are listening to the recordings, because if it weren't for them, I couldn't sit here with a straight face and say it works. And I'd be back out there doing the same thing everybody else is doing, the TED talk, the this talk, the this talk. But that's not true learning. That's head learning. This is where you're experiencing life a different way. So I'm going to give you one story that happened, and it didn't come from my class, but it profoundly shifted my life. And some of you may have heard it. And even if this is repetitive, honestly, I don't remember if I told it here or not, but I'm going to stress it again because these things are profound. So we were working on intuition in the class. We always talk about that. Follow that inner knowing. Like when you're walking down the street and you need to make the decision, do I go right or left? Don't question the why. The intuitive feeling, do I do this? Do I do that? Then you go into another scenario where you're walking down the street and it's not about right and left. It's, oh my goodness, it's raining. Instead of saying, oh crap, now I don't have an umbrella. Now I don't have this. Now I'm going to get wet. You have an emotional response immediately. Instead of just having that, a lot of the Qigong people say, just kind of flow with life. Oh, it's raining. Isn't that interesting? And kind of say it's raining, depending on what you wanted to do that day, whether or not that would turn out good or bad. And so we said, it's a practice, it's a mindset. And so what we did, and hi, Sally, I'm so glad you're here. She's the one that could attest to some of these things, because what the greatest gift I had, and I said this before you came, is that all of you gave me 150% to show me what works and what doesn't. And some of these subtleties really, really worked. And if you guys could get a group together, it doesn't have to be large, 5 or 6 people, and you gather and you start saying, you know what? I read about Masaru Emoto's work and he crystallized emotion. How interesting. And he said that if we play classical music to a plant, it grows. And if you yell at a plant, it won't grow. And so we said, you know what? Why are we going to just read that and believe it? Why? That's just saying we're going to be fed and, almost be like little puppets or, and accept whatever we're told. I said, no, let's try it. Let's really see if we can get this to work. So lo and behold, we went home and we all did it our own way. And we had good results. Let me tell you, I was blown away. I was like, wow, that's interesting. So then you take it a step further. You say, okay, it's words, it's music. What else impacts it? So my husband can attest to this, another story, but it's the stories that you need to experience and not just hear from me for your life to shift, but it's my suggestion you try it, okay? So he was in pain from a tooth thing that he had. And we were doing this plant thing at the time. So this is about 10 years ago. And I was really intrigued. What was I going to do? He was a little loopy already from the Novocaine and whatever it was they gave him. But he said, I'm in so much pain. Can I just have a drink of water? And I thought to myself, oh, experiment time. I got to try this. So I did exactly what we did with the plants and the water and the whole Masaru Emoto concept. And I just said, okay, I'm going to wing it. Hey, it's experiment time. But you can do this in your community any way you want. You're going to learn. There are no mistakes. So I took the glass of water and I said, okay, I'm going to put love in there and it's going to be pain-free and it's actually going to give him pain relief. And I meant it. I meant it from a heart space. It's not voodoo. It's not me willing something on. It's not me pleading. We plead a lot in prayer. This is kind of what I believe. This is a belief, not a fact. I always am careful with this. That's how Jesus lived. He just believed He knew what he needed to do. He didn't do it from a headspace. He did it from that place where we're consciousness, where we're connected to God, to divinity. And I'm not saying I'm so connected. In fact, I'm not most of the time. But when I choose to be, and I choose to be the part of the ocean instead of the droplet, and you try it, that's profound shift in your life. So I did this with the water, and I thought, I'm not going to say a word. And I just walked over there and I said, you look really thirsty. Just drink the whole thing. And he's not a big liquid person. He usually takes a little sip and then he's done. I said, no, just drink it. I think you need it for hydration. So he drinks it and he goes, oh, thank you. You're right. Yeah, that was really good. I wait maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And he goes, what was in there? He goes, my tooth's all better. I said, is it? Interesting. I don't even know if he knows that story because it sounds so, and this is why I don't like to teach in this genre. And this is no insult to Unity or Zoom, but when you voice it, it's almost like it's crazy. But when you gather with people and you all say, look, we're all in the same boat, and I'm tired of people telling me this and this, and we don't even know it's true. We say, hey, why don't we try it? Let's go out and do it. So some of the subtle things that may have even gotten missed, I'm going to go over with you guys. And then we're going to talk about some other things, the release techniques and all this other stuff. But like at the beginning, when I told you guys in December, and again, it helps if you meet with your group weekly, not once a month. Too much time goes by. People forget. They don't have the aha moment that they can then share. So let's say you met weekly, just to talk about the experience and that you went out and tried it. So let's say you said, okay, we're going to have the holidays now. And people, stress level goes up. They say, yeah, I have to see my uncle so-and-so. I have to see my brother who I don't get along with. Yeah, I have to see this person. And right away, this human reaction has this church and they say, love everybody, accept everybody. And then what happens with a lot of humans, at least from my own observations, is people just get conflicted. They say, oh, this is hard. And then you might say a prayer that day and say, God, help me be nice today and help me be accepting and loving. And that's kind of the pattern that I've observed, not judgment wise. But what if you shifted? Now, this is subtle. I'm trying to gift this to you guys because it made a difference in my own life. That I'm not trying to be somebody, that I'm just content with who I am. And I understand that my opinions, my way, what I say, the way I behave is largely based on what's happened to me in life. Okay. If you listen carefully to that, that's big. I might have been treated a certain way as a child, as a teen, had certain experiences with men, with women, with parents. Okay. And that makes you a certain way. So we had a dear gentleman in our class who really was very opposite from the rest of the group, but we loved his soul, his essence, his heart, and bless him, Phil. Okay. And he would come and he would have that real hard, we have to be patriotic and we have to, he had this veteran, real, what I'm talking about, that real staunch way of thinking. But I listened to him, and even when you would hear him say something that maybe wasn't the way a lot of the people in the class felt, I said, but when we really listen to you, this is because of all that you've been through. You fought in the war. This has shaped you. And then all of a sudden, instead of feeling an annoyance or an irritation or a disconnect, the real love for him as a human, as a living being, it bubbled up, and it was wow. And when that happened to me, I thought, oh, wow, this works. This works better than me trying to be conflicted. So then I tried the exact same methodology on him. I said, if I can do it, he can do it, right? It should work for all. So he kept on saying, and please, nobody take offense to this. He was a lovely man. I still miss him. He had attitudes, though, again, based on his experience. And he said, oh, yeah, he said, those really heavy women, and he's making fun of them. And I'm saying, I'm rolling my eyes, not quite knowing how to respond. And I said, Phil, I don't know that anybody wants to look a certain way or be a certain way. And what if the next time you have that thought, again, subtle suggestion. I said, I sincerely mean this. Can you do me a great big favor this week and really, really, really look and hunt for one thing that you might like about this person. Don't fake it. Okay, so you're put off by them being loud or heavy or this or that. But can you find one thing that you actually like? Okay. He said, I think I can do that. I think I can do that. So sure enough, next week he comes back. He said, I have a story to tell. I said, tell me, and this is how our class went. He came and, oh, it's just heartwarming. He said, I did what you said, and it changed my life. He said, this woman who I never would have talked to, I was looking at her and she had dreadlocks. He had a thing about that. He said, but I looked at it and I really did think they were kind of pretty. The way they were braided, and they were really long and they were really shiny, and they just were so unique and they had such personality. And I said it to her, like you said. I said, I just love your hair. I really do. They start talking. They became friends, Facebook friends. So you see how the connection happened, not because he willed it on, but because he tried this little thing. And it sounds subtle, but it isn't. It really, really isn't. And I think what made a difference in my life is I used to be a Wayne Dyer fan. And bless him, you don't know how many times in my life, how many times I said, oh, you guys, I said, Wayne can do it, but I can't. I am not as good as him. I can't do what he tells me to do. And so I thought, well, what good does it do if I read these books and I can't apply it into my life? What good does it do? And so that's when I said, I have to find a way that everybody's life, that we accept the fact that we're humans, we're never all bad or all good. We have duality. Your good is your bad is your good, and not even call it bad or good. My Qigong teacher said, nothing is good or bad. It just is. And so I listened to it, and then I said, oh, I have to start applying it. Yes. When it's raining, I have to practice. It's raining, and period. Not it's raining. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get wet. Oh, no way. It ruined my day. Well, no, go get a raincoat, get an umbrella, enjoy the rain, flow with life. It happened. It's here. And if you retrain your response to things, and I had an interesting example. I have several examples because I walk the walk of what I do. I will say that. That doesn't make me a great person. It means I'm somebody that got tired of listening and trying to learn and not applying. So we did a thing where I had an earache. I was miserable. I went to the gas station and I was filling up my tank, and just by some fluke, the thing disconnects and sprays me with gas, sprays the car and me with gasoline. I'm standing there, and a normal human reaction truly would have been, oh my God, I'm just going to lose it. I'm going to cry. I'm going to whatever. And I'm standing there, I'm thinking, see how this is different now. I normally would have reacted like every human, but I said, well, this is interesting. Why would it spray me with gas? Interesting. Curiosity. Remember we talked about that in December? So I said, that's interesting. All right. It happened. That's very weird. That's not good. I don't know if it's good or bad. Let me get cleaned off. I can't go to the doctor like this. So I walk into the gas station. The gas station attendant says, oh, honey, I can't believe you got all this gasoline on you. Here, come over here and let's get you all cleaned up. While I'm getting cleaned up, I turn around and this guy walks in, and he appeared intoxicated, honestly. And it was on a weekday morning. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he had another condition. I don't know that for a fact. He said, who has a Jeep out there? I just hit it. I mean, at this point, I'm really getting curious. I'm like, seriously, this is happening? I mean, and so I get back in my car. I now have a dent in the back of my car. I have his number. I don't know what to do. But what was interesting about that day is that my reaction to all of that was so different. And I almost got curious how this was all going to play out. Okay. I met some interesting people. I think we don't always know, and that's my next story, how what you do or how your interaction impacts people. So I do not know what happened when I didn't like totally yell at this guy or hold him accountable for that. That part of the story isn't that important because I don't know how it ended. And I thought, well, a lot of times we're in situations where we don't know how things are going to go. We just don't know. So I had the great gift. I think Jen's heard the story. I don't know. Maybe Brian has too, and Dave knows. Everybody's probably heard it, but I'm going to repeat it because it's worth telling. So if we do live in a living matrix and we're here to connect, to be part of consciousness, and if we put love meaning love for life, appreciating everybody's soul, namaste, connection, that kind of thing. If we put that out into the world, okay, as a genuine, I want to live like this. That's how Jesus lived. Not that we have to have this belief or that. That's what he did as a human on this earth. So if you want to put that out in the world in that way, it's interesting. So I had an experience up in Frankfurt that was profound for me. It really has affected my life, and it was never the same since. Frankfurt, Michigan is on the hand here. I live here in Michigan. It's up here. So it's kind of like a vacation spot on the water. It's not in Germany. It's Frankfurt, Michigan, up on the west coast of Michigan. And we were up there, and I had teen girls at the time who, they always think mom's doing everything weird. So I was in a busy place again with lots of people, and we were up in Frankfurt, and my husband was with me. The girls were there. They had some friends too, I believe. And we were out at the beach on the dock, and I was just kind of reflecting. I guess, again, you pay attention to life. You care about people. That's how you walk the world differently. Not in a, I do more and I volunteer more. It's just, oh. And I saw a man going out in a wetsuit. It was kind of a cold, blowy day. And he looked like he maybe was struggling because the waves were coming in, and we lose a lot of people in Lake Michigan. So I'm watching this and, tune in, because my head says, yeah, mind your own business. Lots of people live that way. Or my ER doctor would say, oh, you can drown quickly. So what do I do? But I'm not an ER doctor. I'm just Annette at the beach today. You can either choose to engage or not. So I tuned in. Am I supposed to do something? Not prayer. This is just consciousness type thing. It feels different because it's an inner knowing. Boom. Call the Coast Guard, call the Coast Guard, call the Coast Guard. My daughter's standing next to me. She says, Mom, put that phone away. Don't call the Coast Guard. What are you doing? He'll be fine. He knows what he's doing. He has a wetsuit on. He knows what he's doing. He's used to waves. He's fine. Call Coast Guard, call the Coast Guard. I said, all right, guys, you guys go over there. Let me just do my thing. I don't want it on my conscience if something happens. Just don't worry about it. You don't have to be associated with me. So they go off, they're clearly older. They go over here, I go over there. Do I really call the Coast Guard? Doubt sets in. Head says, mind your own business. Why are you doing this? Intuition comes in. This is kind of how it works, okay? Listening, meditating, tapping into consciousness. That's what you do when you meditate. Quiet, not visualization all the time. Just connection. Listening more than anything. Not thinking, listening. Call the Coast Guard. So I call the Coast Guard and I say, hey, and it was a big ordeal actually, because they don't want false calls made. I said, oh, I'm just a visitor here, but this guy looks like he's struggling out there. Maybe I'm wrong, he's out, and I described where I'm at and everything. And I said, I just want to make sure he's okay, because he really doesn't have anything with him. It looks like he's struggling. I don't see anything for him to hang on to. The waves are big. Would it be okay if you guys just check on him if you're not too far away? Thank you for the call. Okay. Some kind of, okay, done. All right. And then I had to give my name and my phone number. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to end up in the paper. It does become a big ordeal. And so then they had like this walkway over there. I'm just kind of walking around and thinking, it's okay. It's all right. So I'm watching for the Coast Guard to come. It's very open. It's a very big place, but you're watching for a boat to come to the right, to the left. And I don't see anybody coming. I'm thinking, well, that's weird. What do they come on? So maybe, I want to say 10 minutes goes by and I still see him kind of bopping out there. Okay. And I wasn't sure, but I did see movement. I see this lady that behind me come running, and I swear she looked just like one of those ladies on, those surf shows, cut and ripped, 22 years old. She says, oh, I'll just go swim out there. I'm the Coast Guard. I was like, well, I didn't expect that. So sure enough, she jumps in, swims out there, says, sir, are you okay? And I'm thinking, oh God, it's like so embarrassing. She's swimming out to see him in this cold water. Obviously she's used to it because he had a wetsuit on. She did not. And if she did, I don't remember it. Maybe she did. But I remembered her just having this kind of suit thing on. And, she goes out there and they start coming back. They said, hey, are you okay? Come on in. And she kind of not tugged him back in, but he kind of came in towards the shore. And then we talked a bit. And I said to him, he said, oh, that's so sweet of you. He goes, that you were worried about me. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, I would have rather you tell me that than, that you would have gotten into trouble. So I just kind of like said, oh geez, here we go, and they laughed a little, they chuckled a bit. And so I thought, oh God, is my intuition wrong? Again, doubt sets in. Okay. Thinking what? I felt kind of bad, to be honest with you, because I seriously thought, did my inner knowing betray me? Okay. That's what I thought in the moment. And I thought, I'm not going to listen again if this is really true. That was my human reaction. All right. So we were doing this and that. I end up walking around. And Frankfurt's a very small town. They have a very tiny bookstore. So I decided to go in there. I wanted to get away from the beach because I figured people were probably talking about me and how embarrassing, right? So I walked into the bookstore and I tried to kind of just forget about it. I figured I'd rather have that air and whatever. I just won't talk about it a lot with the kids or my husband or whoever. Nobody else was with me. And I walked into the bookstore and, I'm looking through books, some cookbooks and stuff, nothing intense, but just kind of trying to clear. And then I was going to meet up with my group later. And I hear somebody that's at the front there talking with another person at the checkout counter. And they said, did you hear what happened out at the beach today? I said, oh my gosh. I'm like hiding in a row behind there, trying to put the book like this because I didn't know. She said, oh my gosh, apparently there was a lady out there that called the Coast Guard on one of the surfers. When the Coast Guard left, they found two 12-year-old boys struggling on the other side of the rocks, and they would have died had that call not come through. I stood there literally just dumbfounded. And I felt humbled, emotional. And I just said, thank you. Thank you for telling me this one time. Thank you for telling me this one time that we don't always see the impact of what we do. And do we have to? Now, I don't know that I have to have that anymore because I saw that was just a gift to show me. So nothing I did was profound. All I did was allow, tap into consciousness. You see what I'm saying? So this is subtle stuff. This isn't something you can make happen. This isn't something but it's that, so what I want to share with you is if you guys go out, if you go here or there and you get that inner knowing, follow through with it. Follow through with it, listen to it, see how life plays out, and so many people out there that have done this say it's life-changing, but it's subtle. It's that you're listening, you're not overthinking. And that gets us into the image cycling. So the reason image cycling is so effective, and if you have your 10 things, okay, and they're real, what you do with that list now, you don't allow your head to block what you have on that list. That's really what the technique is all about. So what Bill Bankston tried to get people to do is get the brain out of the way, get the block, the energetic block gone. We used to call it monkey brain as a joke. We're not really a monkey brain, but we are, because we often think we have linear thinking, but we're starting to live in consciousness, which is a quantum world. Okay. So the profoundness of this is you take your list of 10 things and now you start, you don't have to close your eyes, but obviously you're trying to focus, you're trying to visualize, you're trying to use all 5 senses. And now you go First image, got it. Second image, got it. Third image, got it. Fourth image, got it. And you go down the list. Now you go first image, second image, third image, fourth. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you whirl and cycle to the point where you're thinking of all 10 things like in a millisecond. It's kind of like it goes at the speed of light is how you could visualize it. You see? So you go speed of light, all 10, just like that in 1 second. Okay. And so the way you did your list correctly, if it's almost like a jolt of good that comes because you're thinking of everything you want, everything you're happy about, and there's no brain to say can't be. So you're picturing it, but not in a brain way. You're thinking of it as almost like a flash, okay? But you build it up 1, 2, 3 until you feel it's just it's literally at the speed of light. Is how you're feeling it. And so I started to flash it out multiple times a day because your brain actually gets addicted to this. You start to say, oh, yeah, that felt good. Yeah. Request put in, you play with it. You don't get real serious about it. You don't say, oh, I have to have this. That's saying you think it won't happen. It's just like request put in, kind of like that. Speed of light, here it is. Okay. So you blurb it out. And it's just shocking to me. Now, it'd be cool if you could get with a little group and you practice and you say, hey, I found that this works. Hey, I found that this works. I did it this way. Keep in mind, even if there are people out there that are quote teaching, we're just sharing experiences and different methodology. It took Bill, goodness, his tapes took 6 hours. 6 hours to explain the same thing that you heard from me in 20 minutes. Now, are they equivalent or just as good? Maybe not. But there's a part of your humanity, and this is where it's different, where I want to say I'm different, that we're listening with our hearts. We're listening with an energetic field. You're saying, yeah, I want to experience something different. And then you're in consciousness now. So that thought comes to you. The technique, the correctness of it, don't doubt yourself. There's no hierarchy, in my view, in consciousness. All humans are equal. No one is smarter. Nobody is not as smart. The people that don't get along, it's because they had opposite experiences and they're getting too fluffy, whatever is the outside. The soul is all the same. We're all part of the ocean. Okay. So you don't have people that are superior or inferior. How could you say that? Take a bucket in the ocean, take it, put the droplets out. How can you say one is better than the other? It's all part of the ocean. Except some of the droplets might look like this and some might look like that. And when you put them together, it's all one. Okay. So if you can visualize that, this subtleness, if you can buy into that, and if you can't, I want you to try it. Say, I feel myself as a particle. And if you look at the slit lamp experiment, you'll see you fluctuate between being particle and wavelength. And when you're wavelength, when you meditate, when you listen, not visualize, meditating is really silence where you don't feel the edges of your body anymore. And we can maybe try and do a little mini one of that. You feel part of something bigger. You feel part of the divine. You start to feel you're not alone. You have support because you're the droplet in the ocean. Does that, I hope, make sense? And if it doesn't, don't keep it up in here. Put it in your heart and allow yourself to feel this. Allow. And when you do this, your life will shift. It'll change. We talked about doing the heart thing, in February. And I felt like, gosh, you keep it cerebral. People say, well, that's stupid. Why would I put hearts out there? If you try, if you didn't do it, don't say that that's bad. Look at it as, I didn't try it, did somebody else? And what happened to them? I tried it, actually. I think I told you. I slipped a heart to somebody and I said, thank you so much for letting me enjoy tonight. Okay? Oh my gosh. Came over, give me a big hug. They said, I needed that. I had such a hard time coming into work today. and that you made me feel appreciated. This was wonderful. How did that make me feel? Connected, connected. You see it, and this doesn't cost any money. And this does not make me a great person. It doesn't. It's that I tried some of these things that help us connect. And it's real. It's real. You don't give somebody a heart that is really irritating you. That's fake. Oh, I'm going to be a good person today and do this. It's not received the same. See what I'm saying? It's not the mechanics. And that's why when I teach Qigong, it's not like Tai Chi. Tai Chi, and this is not shooting Tai Chi down. Tai Chi is hold your arm like this, hold it like that. Yoga, the same thing. People would always come over and correct me. Honey, put your arm a little bit higher, do this. And I'd be like, leave me alone. I'm already self-conscious. Okay. Doesn't make yoga bad. Doesn't make Tai Chi bad. But in Qigong, I always said endpoint, that you feel the connection to the ocean, to all that there is, to feel the flow. That's what the end point is. So anything that I suggest, or if we do something together, or if we do a transformation, it's subtly allowing something greater to work with your aura, your soul, your higher self. You see how that's a different kind of a thing? And is it challenging to teach? Yes. Yes. It's challenging because I often don't have, I flounder over my words. I used to tell my class, are you getting it on some level? Because my words fall short. And they would just say yes. Or they would just look. You could feel that they were absorbing it on some level that wasn't all just this. Okay. So that's what you sometimes get. And it's a cool experiment. I told you about this, where if you walk into a forest and you see a deer, if you see a rabbit, you don't have the same language as they do. They're animals, you're humans, but they're still part of life and consciousness. If they don't run away from you, you're part of the forest. You're not foreign. I had it happen both ways. We used to live where we had a lot of geese. And if I'm in like power mode and I'm feeling very cerebral, or especially if I was angry, oh boy, did those geese go. They were squawking away and gone, literally 10 seconds later. Almost scary the way they escaped me, okay? Information for me doesn't make me a bad person that happened. Just information. They could feel that I was foreign to where they were, at peace, in nature, in consciousness, okay? Another time I said, oh, I had just meditated. I felt very at peace. I felt almost like I wasn't in my body, just going for a walk, enjoying the sun on my face, the wind. I swear I walked in the middle of the geese thing. I think they thought I was one of them. Interesting. Isn't that interesting? That's fascinating to me. The animals can tell, just like they could detect a tsunami over all that equipment that we have. The equipment didn't save all those people. But the animals, the elephants, the indigent people, they're tapped into that. They're tapped into that subtle energy thing. And so for your community to benefit, your beautiful community, you certainly taught me just by allowing me this to be a part of this. You know, if you could go out and try things, dialogue with each other, feel safe, no judgment, ever, no advice, no judgment, just sharing. You know, this happened to me. Interesting. This happened to me. And now we're experiencing the human experience. And that's really beautiful. Doesn't matter what people are experiencing, but you learn just by listening and feeling. And what I love about that, it's so genuine. My gosh, were we real and genuine? Sometimes people would cry. Sometimes they would laugh. Sometimes they would say, oh, I feel shame today. I feel bad. And somebody else would come back and say, you know, I felt that way before. They're not therapy classes because we're not analyzing, we're not giving advice, but it's compassion and it's love and it's acceptance. Does that make sense? I hope. So I've talked a lot. It's 7:45. We could take this a couple different ways. I could teach a couple more release techniques. That's a little more cerebral again. we finish the image cycling, or I can open it up for questions, and you have the chance to ask me questions, particularly if one of you is interested in taking this up in Edinburgh and that you start to think of how you could do it. You can write to me, you can talk to me on the phone, I can give you suggestions, and that's where I feel the best real impact will occur. Meet weekly. I feel a month is too long for you to be doing these subtle things, okay? We did another example that was cool. Try to get together in your group and you don't get to say your name or your profession or what you did in the past. All you are is who you are right now in the moment. Try it. Really messes with you. People don't know what to say at first. Who are you right now? Right now in this moment? Does the past really matter? Does your name matter? Think about that. It's so subtle. But if you try these things, you'll find your connection to people to be profoundly different. And I think it's fun. It makes life exciting. So, you know, I like to laugh. I'm different than my husband. He likes true jokes. I'm more like, when something's so crazy, I just laugh. Not laugh, ha ha, it's funny. It's more like, wow, this is different. Well, you know what? I'm going to try this. You know, you play with people. Somebody will say, so what do you do? I don't know. What do I do? I'm here right now. Do you have a profession? No, not really. I'm just talking to you right now. People are like, what? You know, you can have fun with this. You can have fun with this, not in an insulting way, but that's kind of the thing that I was thinking of. So I'm going to leave it up to you, what you prefer to do. And unfortunately, you will have to answer a little bit, because if you want me to keep talking without interacting, I am ready. I can do a transformation with a candle, which I actually have ready to go because I can't show movements good enough here. I didn't have a good enough camera and all that. Or we can do a few more release techniques because I felt I didn't give the one girl that asked me a couple weeks ago enough. I felt I left her in the middle somewhere, which frustrated me. You know, I'm used to completion. I wanted to give her more. I wish she had written to me, but she didn't. There's some release techniques that are better than tapping. You know, we can spend the next 15, 20 minutes to do that. So give me feedback where you'd at least like to go with this last, 20 minutes that we have left. And that you can tell Jen, or I don't know. I see some people are talking. Let me see. So I'm here to do as we direct. Maybe people.
Annette, I have somebody here that would like to speak to you.
Okay, perfect. That's what I'm here for.
There you go. Hi.
Hello. I wanted you to write to me.
Oh, I don't think I got your information to write it down, but I did think about what you said, and I didn't get the whole 10 list, but I really did think about what you said. And I think what I came up with is that, you know, I went through part of my list and I was like, I want more money, I want to be more comfortable, I want this. And
Can I stop you right there? Because I wish you would talk to me last time. No, I just want, this is for everybody, not just you, because this is common. I want more money. That's such a good one. Why? What will money give me? You see how I want you to take it farther. Money will give me what? Better house, not have to work, more clothes. You have to take it to the next step. You see?
And
it's hard. It's hard. And where did you go?
I actually came up with, you know, what if I put all that aside? Why do I want more money? Well, I want more money to pay my vet bills, my car payment. I want to be debt free. And when I really thought about it, I came up with, I want to be more peaceful.
There you go. Wow, you did it. Yay. Awesome. but see, it's not my teaching. I was just the catalyst. You figured it out on your own. That's awesome. You did this.
Without you giving me the pointers and have the bravery to come up here and ask you last month.
Awesome.
And then, Jen asked me if I wanted to come up and talk to you, and I'm like, no.
Oh, come on. I want the connection with you. I love that that happened because I believe we have exactly the same ability. It's if you want to be real and raw and not live your life on a stage and live in somebody else's rules, somebody else's life. You see, you did it. You did it. You think you want this, but if you really connect, beautiful, beautiful sharing. And I can't thank you enough because this is what will happen if you guys get a group together. You'll share this. Now, let's say somebody didn't even do this. They said, I'm not doing that. I'm not coloring. I'm not making some dumb list. Now they hear your story. You think they're going to maybe try it now?
I hope so.
You see?
And
you see?
as without realizing it, I hope I went through training to listening to other people. Well, I go visit a lady that has stage 4 cancer. She's had it for over a year. And within the past month, I was so focused on, I wanted more money. I wanted more this, more that. And I almost skipped one of the meetings. 2 other ladies go see the lady with stage 4 on Wednesdays at 4:00.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't go, or I wasn't there on time. They came and got me. They're like, you need to be part of this group. We're meeting here every Wednesday just to get together, just to talk, just to vent, whatever it may be. And I kind of looked at them dumbfounded, like, I don't bring anything to the table. And they're like, you don't understand. You listen to all of us. You just listen.
I love that story too, because be, not do. That's where it's at. You were present, you listened, and you were you, the real you. And that's all we can ask for from any human. And that's beautiful when people are able to do what you do. Beautiful.
Yeah, I wasn't cranky. I wasn't angry. I wasn't mad. I wasn't frustrated. And I didn't realize it until I talked to you. I don't think you left me anywhere. I think you left me and asked me the right questions. And it took me all month, but I did get there.
But you did the work. You truly did the work. And see, it's people like you that keeps me going, because I don't want to be the person teaching. I want to be your catalyst for you to do it all, because I believe you can. You see how that's different?
Yes.
And you are living proof of this. So you're not letting me quit. What are you doing? You did exactly what my intention is for all of you, because I believe that every human that wants the same thing that I want, and that's a good life, a full life. What's a good life? We have to define that for ourselves.
Right.
To connect.
It's hard to get past the, my bills are piling up. I need to work more. Well, working more, you got less time to do other stuff. It made me reflect on what was important.
If you read, you're going to like this book. I don't know if you're a reader, but I've told a couple people about it, but you may like it. If you read The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, all he did was meditate. That's it. And his story is an incredible story. No money, living barefoot, turning things down. And then the way the money shows up is what's interesting.
Right.
Money showing up like if you put down, I need more money. Well, what do you need more money for? Oh, so I can fix this. Well, what if this just gets fixed without money? Maybe somebody else, it doesn't go in a linear fashion. You see what I mean?
Right.
You may end up, let's say the bills don't get paid. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to move. You're open to other possibilities. And sometimes those possibilities serve you tremendously. But it isn't for me to decide or for me to counsel you or for me to tell you. It's you kind of going into that. You're already doing this, encouraging you to continue that. Where's this going to take me? Get curious. Get curious where this is going to take you. You've already begun the journey in a magnificent way. I can tell. You look brighter. You're showing me your soul, which is beautiful. Beautiful. It's all we can do in life is show our true selves to others. And that is life connecting, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for your bravery, for sharing, and just continue. And you never are bothering me. If you want to share, if you want to dialogue, if you want to discuss, if you want a tip, but understand, I don't like to truly ever tell anybody what to do. I like to nudge you to try this, nudge you to try that. And when people have real trauma, and you had trauma in my view, when you asked me that, you know what they did with the kids in Kosovo that watched their parents burn, their villages burn. There's a technique that's really simple, and I'll just show you real quick. Here, let me stand up. So what you do is you cross over your arms, and let's say there's something that just keeps whirling and whirling and whirling in your head, and you're angry that it's circulating, okay? So what you do is the opposite. This is just a technique. This isn't really a thing. This is a teaching thing. So you think of it, and instead of saying, oh, I don't want to think about that, it's too horrific, you think about it as intensely as you can, like to the point where you think it's going to kill you because you're thinking about it. And then you go like this. I'm safe. I am here. It's just a memory. It's not going to control me anymore. They did this with the kids. But you have to think about it intensely. It's not in the lemon phase. It's in the phase where it's like it's happening. And you may feel teary. You may have a release, but you just continue this. And you're observing it. And then it's there, but it's like on a screen. It has no more power over you. Why this works, I don't know. I think it crosses over. The circuit in your brain is goes like this. So when you cross over, you're taking the corpus callosum and you're saying, I'm going to stop the circuit. It's like a resetting of a scale. Okay. So when you do this, you just do it until it's gone. There's a second technique. It's called eye movement desensitization. It's also effective. And they seem so simple, but all I can say is try it, because you don't want to be imprisoned or a victim of circuits in your brain that you really don't want to be there. And the natural human reaction is to suppress. Face it, look at it, observe it, and say, those thoughts are not mine. They're in my head. They can be there, but I don't want them to control who I am or rob me of my ability to be me, to be that pure baby that was born. You see? So the other one is what you do is you put your finger in front like this, and you don't move your head. All right. And what you do is you move over to there, and you can only move your eyes. And then you do it. It's the same technique. It's rebalancing. Only eyes. See what I'm doing? I don't know if you can see me good enough. My eyes are following my finger only, both ways. And then you check in again, just like we did with the tapping. And you say, you know what? It's there, but it's like it's over there. It's not like controlling me. Do you see what I mean?
Right.
Play with that. And again, compassion with yourself. Always don't say, oh, I can't do this. That doesn't serve anything. Say, okay, let me see. This maybe didn't work. What does my innate inner knowledge say to do? So Annette showed me 2 techniques. They're not quite working for me. Well, maybe if I do it like this, modify it. There's no experts out there. That's what I stopped doing a long time ago. Nobody in this world is an expert. All we have, if we're honest, is experiences. I had an experience, you have an experience, and guess what? We're getting together and we're sharing them. And when we share them, that's a beautiful thing. We now have a connection. We're not lonely. We learn from each other always.
Right.
Because your experience now, you give me something by coming up here and being and telling me that this worked for you. It's a gift to me. You see, it's always like this. It's never, oh, so-and-so taught me this. No, so-and-so told me about this. And then I learned from here deep inside of me how this really works. And trust that. Trust who you are. And you're on a great journey. And I can't thank you enough for coming up. And always feel free to connect me. This doesn't have to be some formal thing. I don't, why? I always tell people when they say, oh, I don't want to, what is that? We're on this earth alive. People are talking to us. What else is there?
My anxiety in my head says, don't open up, don't tell anybody, keep it to yourself.
Well,
it worked, and I did the opposite, and it actually helped and worked.
See, you did one small step, and it's shifting you. And that's what subtle energy, catalyst, teaching, whatever word we want to use, I'm floundering again. But that's how it happens. It's that little thing you did. You know what I mean? But that becomes the big thing. So somebody will say, oh, that won't matter. It won't matter if I do this. Well, why don't you just be playful like when we were 5 and try it? What have you got to lose unless you want things to be exactly the same? You see? So I always tell people, let's do it. Let's be playful. Let's try it. And you did do it with bravery, I know, but I can't thank you enough. And I appreciate, I'm sincere when I say this. I appreciate that you shared this with me. And hopefully others will get great benefit out of this, because this is how it happens. And I can't stage this. It's true for anybody listening to the video. I do not know her, but she is my friend now. There's a connection because we shared something.
Yeah, okay. It was deeply hard to bring up traumas and problems and issues and not asking for help from a complete stranger and then to come back. I mean, even today, I'll tell you what happened is that I was meeting with the friends down the thing. The one lady left her cell phone behind. Well, it was 6:30. It was time to come here. And part of my brain was saying, if you leave now and do the nice thing and give her her cell phone, take it to her, you're going to be late.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I'd be like, no, just don't go. If you're going to be late, don't go. And I sat there and I'm like, is that really what I should do? And I said, no, do the right thing. Take the lady her cell phone, because obviously we need our cell phones. What happens to her and her husband in the middle of the night if they don't have a phone? I'm like, is it going to matter that I'm going to be 10 minutes late? I'm going to feel uncomfortable that I'm 10 minutes late.
And you know who you need to please at the end of the day is you, nobody else. And you did do the right thing because you made that call and that shot. And that the whole thing about the late thing, you know what, that's something that goes all the way back to childhood somewhere. I was raised with these parents like, oh my God, you're so bad if you're late. You know, it took years to shed that. Years.
Yeah.
What's going to happen if you're 10 minutes late? Seriously.
I don't know why I thought that way, but I almost didn't come even.
No, but
that's a bad idea. I didn't know why it was a bad idea. Well, now I know why it's a bad idea.
Well, now you can go back though too and say, wait a minute, time. First of all, it's man-made, it's created. Who told me this was bad? Why is it bad? You know what I mean? And it's your analysis of how you want to walk in this world and being true to yourself. And you were true to yourself today. And that honestly, that's another beautiful story. You were true to you. You're not here to please the person that you gave the phone to. You're not here to please me. You're not here to please people because you were on time. You are here to please you and you alone. And you hold the standard of goodness to yourself, goodness to others. It's equal.
And the thought came to mind. I read it out of a book that said, no matter the circumstance, just show up.
Yes.
Just
And
show
my
up.
gosh, you did. Can we all say yay? You showed up big time. And thank you for inspiring all of us. I mean
you.
that. All right, it's 8:06. Where shall we go, Jen, or whoever's on there? I am open to anything. We're getting
Not
close.
sure. I'm checking to see if there's anything else here. I don't, you had a couple of comments early on, it looks like. Excited to be here. Have the opposite problem and speak with my instincts and then get shut down for saying it. So you had some comments about what you were talking about, and love the way that you're looking at things, and a thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for those nice, kind comments. Feel free to write to me as well. And
somebody sent me a message. I was supposed to be a few. It said, "You are very positive. Any secrets?" was the question.
Me? I'm positive. My husband doesn't think so. No. I want to say it's easy to be negative. And I think I learned that that doesn't get me anywhere. So it wasn't that I'm so upbeat, so positive. It's more, I had some depression that I suffered from, the real kind, and it had been considered clinical. It was postpartum depression back when I was 30. And part of the reason I had that depression was because I felt that I was living somebody else's life. So when you say, why are you positive? It's because when you get into the flow of life, I mean, think about it. If something bad happens to me, and I'm not always this way, I try to make that my goal because life is easier when you're like this. Somebody hits me from behind. Interesting. So now I met the person that hit me from behind. You know, I go and somebody just stole my my little ski guy. You know, it's going to be interesting. Curiosity about it. Where's this going to take me? Am I going to see it someday? Am I going to run into a car? You know, where's this going to go? I get curious about it. I don't take the approach that, you know, I never want to be a victim. I learned in medicine, mostly people that become victims that say, oh, life is just hurting me. It's easy to do as a human. I'm not judging it. They tend to suffer more. And so you go into the Buddhist thinking that says, you know, it's your choice if you want to suffer. So yeah, I do get stressed. And I think Dave can attest to the fact that he sees me bounce. He'll see me, you know, cry. He'll see me be sad. He'll see me yell. He'll see me, you know, just, and I'll say, okay, I don't want to be the particle that's suffering. I am choosing and I want to not suffer. So how do I get there? Meditate. Meditate is listening to God. I don't listen to anything specific, but it's just going into that void and realizing, gosh, when you're in a plane, I'm just a little speck on this earth. And I'm feeling there's so much, the Milky Way, the earth. Oh my gosh, that's why nature's so powerful. When you go and see the grandeur of the mountains and you see, you know, a deer, just the beauty of it. You know, you're connecting into something that doesn't let you get caught up in all of that. And I do get caught up in it. I think Sally over there can attest to the fact I am not a perfect human being. I think that's why we all got along. I was real and raw and told people when I couldn't do things. And then they would say, huh, but what we do is we dust ourselves off. We connect with people that care about you. And it's love that makes us strong again in unity. In unity. I can't do it alone. It's the love of other people that makes us strong. And we can give it and we can receive it. And it should never, I hate to put it like that. When you say, I'm giving love, you're also receiving it. If you feel like you're giving, we did a nurses conference. It's not real. You're trying to control. You're trying to take charge of something. So let me give you a quick example. If you have a patient you're taking care of, I sat with my dad all day on Monday. He didn't talk. He was too weak. I didn't feel sad. All I did was what the young lady that talked. I'm sorry, I missed your name. I wasn't listening well. I was just I be, not do. You see what I mean? I just sat there with him. That's all I could do. Now I felt the frustration creep in a little bit. Oh, I have so much to do at home and I'm tired and I'm just sitting here. No, opportunity that I can feel him today, that I have a slower day. Do you see what I'm saying, where I'm going with this? I'm just as human as everybody. I get caught up in stuff, but then I don't like to suffer, honestly. And you say, well, what do you mean you don't like to suffer? None of us do. Well, I don't like to feed that. I like to say, you know what? Let's skin this differently and see if we can make this a little easier, a little more pleasant. And that is where I say curiosity is the opposite of fear and suffering, because you start to say, where's this going to go? Even like Jesus dying on the cross, we're in Easter now. Look at where it went. It wasn't him dying on the cross. It's a whole religion. It's a whole way of life. It's a way of looking at, how we should be in the world. See? So it's bigger. It's bigger than what's troubling you today. Whatever's on your mind today, connect into something bigger. And you do that. And honestly, this is an opinion, forgive me. I don't like pleading prayers where you please do this for me. Just surrender and say, help me flow with what is. Help me flow with what is. Help me to be the light in the dark. Help me. It's kind of like the people that are in prison. Horrible place to be on most people's perspective. But what about the people that really do shine their light there? And they make connections just like they would in a family not in prison. You see what I mean? It's all in how you approach these things. So it isn't that I'm so positive. I think I want to look at the world in a way that there's meaning, that there's learning. There's a book I read, The Soul and the Sun, that you come to Earth as Earth School. Neil Donald Walsh wrote it, I believe. It's a beautiful children's book. And it says, in order for you to learn how to forgive, somebody has to betray you. Well, that's interesting. So somebody betrays you. In order for you to learn unconditional love, you have to have a love that's challenging. Interesting, isn't it? If you look at life that way, you're never the victim. You're just saying, huh. And it lifts that feeling that gets you down and smashes you. All right. Well, I think I'm out of time, aren't I?
That's a perfect way to end, Annette. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. You have a lot of people here smiling and shaking their heads yes. So
Hey, well, listen, let's leave it this way. If you guys really want me to come back in April, and I don't mean this as an ego thing, if you're benefiting from this, we can do something like this again. But I can't put a PowerPoint or teaching at you type thing together. I can do what I did today.
this is perfect. Annette, this is perfect.
Okay. Well, if you guys want that, just give me a quick message that there's interest. That's all. I do have the time.
I'm getting a lot of head nods here, Annette. So
all right. We'll do one more. We'll be back.
Right.
We'll be back in April. And I don't mean it as an ego thing. I felt, see, I'm real and raw. I felt a tad frustrated last time. And I think it was because I was in the wrong space. I was in a difficult setting and I couldn't be me easily. And so, boom, the energy was blocked. At least from my perspective. That doesn't mean it was terrible. It was a learning experience. So I share that with you as well. I just want connection and you to be your best self and live your best life. So with that, I wish you guys a great month and I'll see you in a month and come with your stories. That's how we all learn. And they don't have to be big and profound, just you living. Make sense?
It certainly does. Thank you so much, Annette. And we'll see you again in a month. All right, take care.
Bye. Love to all.
Bye.
Bye.